Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving deep into the project that I'm incredibly excited to share with you. We are not just building a script in this, we are building a complete end-to-end AI financial analyst. But this one is only for learning. This application should not be used for any real-time investment, right? So, as you can see on my screen, it is an advanced system that analyzes the cryptocurrencies as well as the commodities. And we're going to see that in a working demo in a bit. Generates not only a predictive chart and even writes a professional grade report that you can download. To show you just how powerful this is, let's kick things off immediately, and I'm going to select a Bitcoin and hit analyze. As you can see here, we have this drop down and I can just quickly click on Bitcoin and I can just quickly click on analyze asset. Now this is going to take a minute or two. The AI agent in the background is doing some serious work, gathering a data, running calculation and talking to the Gemini LLM. While that's processing, let's break down exactly what this application does and how we play it. Now you can see this is done and we can see the historical prices as well as the projected trend today and in the upcoming weeks, right? So here these dotted line, basically these dashed lines shows the prediction because right now we are here, right? So cyan color shows the historical data until yesterday. And rest of the thing is just a prediction which our AI agent is actually doing. Right? And that is where the question comes into the mind. What is this AI financial analyst is? Right? So it's a multi-agent system which actually does the crypto and the commodity prediction system with the help of a lot of analysis which I have put together. Right? So what it does, it can analyze Bitcoin, Ethereum, gold, and silver. For now, this is what I have put it in a drop down, but we can enhance this or we can increase this list for the other cryptocurrency and the commodities as well. So what it does, first it looks at the historical prices, try to find out the trend, right? And then fetches the live market sentiments, right? Like the fear and the greed index, and then synthesize everything into the coherent report. And I'm going to show you how that report looks like. And it even generates charts, including an illustrative future price, which I have already mentioned, like future projection, and packages everything into the download PDF in a Word document. It's a full plan. So now you can see this is a historical as the projected trend for the price. And now this is the historical chart. So this is actually being generated with the help of this AI chart. Now we have this another tab where we can see the detailed synthesized report, which I just mentioned. So the first part is just telling at what time we have run this. System meaning what is the, the system name and what is like multi-agent LangChain. We are using a LangChain to just communicate with the Gemini 1.5 Flash for now. We can change this for a 2.5 Pro as well. It's an internal and the commodity and the cryptocurrency which I use is Bitcoin. Now we can see this report structure. We have an executive summary, right? Then we have a current market snapshot, right? All these things are coming from the real-time data. Right now, what's the next thing, right? So let's quickly try to understand, this report structure, how this report is being generated from the code. So we have current market snapshot, we have a technical analysis, we can understand trend analysis, momentum, volatility, and the key level. Multi-factorial analysis, we can understand geopolitical factor like global geopolitical events can significantly influence Bitcoin price. And we know that, right? Any major conflict and regulatory changes could trigger the volatility. Right now, there is a lot of volatility at the global market because of Ukraine-Russia war, Israel and Palestine conflict, right? So there are many more things which are just going on currently at the global level. Institutional adoption and a network upgrade are important factor to consider. Then we have this synthesized prediction and strategy, right? Short-term outlook, medium-term outlook, and the actionable trading insight, right? So then at the end, we have this option where we can download the PDF version as well as the doc version, right? So we can quickly download this one. So now we will get the proper PDF with the same report, which I just showed you on the API. And this is the historical price chart movement. And this is the historical as well as the projected one, which I have done based on my understanding. But as I mentioned, this one is only for the learning, not for to use this in an actual investment, right? Now we reach to the point where we can quickly talk about, the high level architecture of this system, this multi-agent system. right? So what it does, the very first thing, if you just see, we have a user device, right? So in this user device, we can say it's a browser because I'm using a Gradio, which by default run on 7860. So when I just go here, so on browser, and I just try to hit this 7860 on my local, then this application get popped up. And that is what this user device is. Once you just open that, so basically the Gradio is actually rendering this UI for you. And Gradio is a very powerful tool for the non-technical user who doesn't want to learn HTML, CS, and JavaScript, and they want to build a UI, then Gradio is the best option for them. Then at the back end, we have this local Python environment. The first thing is a LangChain agent. So we are using a LangChain library to just communicate with the Gemini with a proper prompt. I'm going to show you that. Then we have this unified data generator, right? So what it does basically, right? In this, you will see we have keys basically for CoinGecko, which I'm using for collecting a cryptocurrency related historical and current day data. Then we have a Yahoo Finance, which is a library in Python by Finance. I'm using that to extract the historical data for the gold and the silver. So for Bitcoin and Ethereum, I am using a CoinGecko with the API key, but whereas the Yahoo Finance, you can directly use it, which provides you the historical data for gold and silver. Right. And then it comes unified data manager means whenever we fetch the data, for from CoinGecko or from Finance, the JSON structure is different, right? And our LLM require this JSON structure into the specific format. So this unified data manager, what it does is it's actually, transfer or actually transform that structure into the unified structure, which can be understood by the LangChain because it has to create the prompt in the same manner what it is doing for cryptocurrency as well as for the commodities, right? And then it just keeps that information into the loop. Then we have a technical analyzer. What it does is it just calculates the various indicators like SMA, RSI, Bollinger Band, and there are many more which I'm going to talk to you about in this tab, where I just try to capture what it is, why, how it is used, and what kind of how to understand, based on the value of these different parameter, what we should understand, right? So we will talk about that in a bit. Right. Then market data fetcher, it's pretty much same, which is just extracting the live data. And this is where the LLM actually using all these like technical analyzer and the market data fetcher, depending upon whether you are hitting commodities or whether you are want to do analysis for the cryptocurrency. Right. So Cloud LLM API, obviously we have to, LangChain is actually going to help us and do that. So you need a Gemini API key. So if you have a Google account, Gmail account, you can easily generate that for you. Right. It has some free quota also, which you can use for your playground. Right. So basically what we do here is I have just created another file as well, which actually generates the historical data for us, and I call it as an end-to-end data pipeline. So here you will see we are first fetching a data for Bitcoin from CoinGecko and for Ethereum, but right now it's hard coded, but we can just put it in a loop, accept this coin ID at the real time, and we can just generate that in the real time as well. Right. And same I'm using here the Wire Finance, where I'm just downloading the data for gold, and then start date and the end, right? And that is what, we are doing. So I have already run that. And this is the main agent which actually runs and where we have all those classes which I just talked about, right? So we have this unified data manager, right, which detect the data format, try to just, find and normalize the data based on what data structure our agent can understand. So there are many more other methods which is actually doing the cleanup. Then we have this technical analyzer, right? So now here we are using a calculate RSI, right? So what is RSI? We can just quickly talk about that as well, right? Okay. So come here on our analysis method. So RSI is the relative strength index. So what it does, a momentum oscillator that measures the speed and the change of a price movement on a scale of 0 to 100. The AI uses RSI to gauge market momentum and identify the potential overbought and oversold conditions. So it's trying to just see whether there is a overbuying or overselling or not, right? So overbought greater than 70 asset may be overvalued and due to the price correction. Asset may be undervalued and poised for a bounce. Similarly, we have a Bollinger Bands and the simple moving averages, support and resistance, right? So let's quickly see those things as well. So we will be having one method for all these parameters. Find support resistance, Bollinger Band. We have an analyze method as well, right? Which is actually doing the SMA related analysis for 20, 20 and 50 minutes. Then we have a market data fetcher, which is actually going to bring the real-time data for any given day at what point in time you are running this. We are getting a fair greed index as well, right? This is again a very interesting, factor which actually comes into the play for cryptocurrency only. So if there is extreme fear, it means that there is a buying opportunity for the investor, and if it is extreme greed, then there is a market correction pattern, right? So we're gonna see, I mean, how we are calculating that. Again, these are just things where you need some functional understanding, and then you can just build that logic over here. Then we have this advanced prediction system, which is actually a brain for our LLM. Here we are initializing the LLM, creating an agent, and this is actual the prediction is happening, and this is the prompt which needs to be used, right? So what we are doing here is, so let's quickly see the prompt because that is where the main important thing is happening. So this is where the prompt is. You are a tier 1 financial analyst, and this is how we always start a prompt. Then we need a prompt call, which is a parameter for us, and this is how this prompt call will be populated, right? And then we have this detail, like, I mean, once the report is generated, LLM does its magic, then this is the structure in which we want that data to be reported. And this is the same structure which you see on the application, right? We can see executive summary, current market snapshot. We have an executive summary, current market snapshot, technical analysis, multifactorial analysis, and this is what you are seeing over here. Then we have a synthesized prediction strategy, right? For short term, medium term, and the extended trading, right? And then we have this download option, right? So this is the prompt. So prompt plays a very important role when you want to interact with the large language model, right? So this is what, the very high level architecture and the code walkthrough, right? And this is what some, important attributes which I use: support and resistance, simple moving average, where you try to see the average price for 10, 20, and 50 days. And based on that, it decides whether it's a bullish trend or the bearish trend. Like short-term SMA is above the long-term SMA, then it's a bullish. If it is a bearish trend, then short-term SMA is below the long-term, right? So these are the small nitty-gritty which you need to understand from the domain. So if you have this domain knowledge, then you can understand the market sentiment and all those kind of stuff. Then this is the predictive modeling, where we try to use, some interesting attributes. We are actually massaging, we are just consolidating all these findings, and based on that, we are trying to predict that. So a visual simulation of a potential future price path for the next 4 weeks. This is not guarantee, but a data-driven illustration. So whatever data we have, we are actually using. And how it is being used: geometric Brownian motion, right? So this is again a financial modeling which I am using, right? So drift, the underlying trend calculated from the difference between a 10, 20 days SMA. A positive drift pushes the price up over time. Volatility, a random shock for each day, which is, very interesting factor. I am not pretty much comfortable with all those things, but I was just trying to understand in a very high level and getting the help from the AI tools to just generate that. And all these intelligence is actually being done by the large language model based on this prompt basically, right? And then we have this logic to just plot the charts, which we are doing for historical and the prediction graph. Then we have an extract prediction summary, create a PDF report. These are just to generate the report, right, and chart. And this is where the Gradio code is, where we are just generating the UI which we are seeing, right? And then main is actually just stitching together all the code which we have written over here, right? So this is how it works. Now let's quickly run for the gold as well, and then we can just try to understand a little bit more. Okay, so now we can just understand the high level flow, how it works. So the very first thing, as I mentioned, we have to extract the historical data, right? And for that, we already have a script, right, which I showed you, end-to-end data pipeline, right? So this is where, historical data can be generated. And then we can just run, our application by selecting, whatever the commodity or the cryptocurrency we want to analyze. So the pre-computation and chart generation happens because since we already have a JSON data, then our code is intelligent enough to understand from the historical data how we can calculate the SMA, RSI, and all the attributes which can be generated without a live data. Then it actually generate the prompt, and where it actually decide, okay, now it needs a live data. And at that point of time, the agent is trying to get the data from either, if it is a cryptocurrency, then I'm using a CoinGecko, but you can use any other data provider as well. And if you need some news, like SUP API or Perplexity can also be used along with that. If you want to do a market sentiment and the current price data for Bitcoin and all those stuff. So this is just, in real time, depending upon whether it's a cryptocurrency or commodity, its tool is intelligent enough to figure it out. I mean, whether it needs to use the CoinGecko or it needs to use the Yahoo Finance. And once that is done, then it's just synthesize the report, basically whatever the output comes up, right? So it just combined, whatever the initial, analysis done by the pre-computation, and it's tried to just, create a syntax context accordingly for the LLM, and it generates the output based on the structure which we have provided to the LLM. And that is how it's finally done the reporting, right? And there are some, logical, method which I have written to just combine these charts into the PDF. So which is kind of a coding mindset, right? So now we have this, historical data projection on chart. Then I can see the projected trend today, right? So for next 4 weeks, right? This is, the historical data. This is pretty much same like this one, but it is having a predicted, value as well. But again, I'm cautious. I'm giving you the disclaimer here that this one is just for a learning and to understand the capability of the multi-agent, system where we are using a large language model. This is the detailed report, the same structure which I showed you on my prompt. So that's the reason I'm saying prompt is very, very important for you to understand. And you need to understand how you can write the stronger prompt. And that is where your domain knowledge comes into the picture, along with, how these LLMs can understand your prompt with the proper context, right? So that's pretty much it from my side for this particular video. If you have anything, any feedback or any suggestion which you want me to implement in this, I would love to do that. And if you want access to the code, as I mentioned, I've already published the code onto the GitLab repo, but this is in my private repo. So if you need access, you have to raise a request with me, and then I will give you the permission to see the code, view the code. And if you are really serious to contribute into that, then definitely I will assign you the developer role as well, so that you can start, contributing to this project as well, right? So as I mentioned, this is pretty much, I mean, in my opinion, this code base is in a very foundational stage, and foundation is already set, and now we can add as much as intelligence we want. So as I mentioned, uh, you can contribute to this. And if you found this project is cool and learned something new, I would really appreciate if you hit a like button or subscribe to the channel for more deeper deep dive AI project, because I keep building such projects. And I love to do, to explore into the area which I have never built any application, right? So let me know in a comment what asset you would analyze first, and what feature you would like to see to add it into that. So as I mentioned, if you need access, I can give you the access. So the best part is you can also build this entire application by yourself, and you can just run your local as well if you want to. So thanks for watching this, and I'll see you in the next one. And if you really like the video, give a thumbs up and hit a notification bell so that you can just get notified for my next video. As always, stay healthy and keep learning new things.